near post, somebody across back post, cut back areas, constant movement. I do feel like it was at times static. There was a lot of New England players inside the box, so whether Brooks got it or Caleb got it.
Do you want an easy way to create professional invoices?
All right, everybody. Yes, it is the live post-match fan reactions show. I am AJ, and yes, Atl United fell 2-1 to the New England Revolution in Foxborough. It is, yeah, just a night of a lot of wasted chances. We were again not clinical in front of goal when we needed to be, and too little, too late. Rios gets a consolation goal, pretty much near the end of the match. Still fighting. That's the good part, but yeah, lots of chances that were just too anemic. Fortune had 3 shots on goal. I think the first one was probably the best hit one. The other 2 pretty tame. Bartosz Schliech also had a pretty good shot. Uh, yeah, I mean, the other shots from Silva, from Wiley, yeah, just not on target or, again, weak. And, without Thiago Almada, without, of course, Yorgos Yakomakis, 2 DPs, they didn't have Carlos Heel, but, I mean, yeah, they saw their striker, and they were feeding him. And that's very helpful when you have that. But, yeah, they he almost got a hat trick twice. It's definitely something that, you know, we need a striker. Rios is, acceptable as a backup, but as far as starting in this league, yeah, we still need a very, very dangerous spear at the top of the attack, and we looked pretty toothless for the majority of this match. Even though, yeah, they let us have the possession. They pretty much said, "Hey, you know, you're not going to do anything with it. And yeah, I mean, we had a lot of shots, but we ultimately just were not composed enough in front of goal. But yeah, Drew, if you're out there, hop on in. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about a lot of this for sure. We'll get into the chat as well here. We've got, yeah, if you're in here, say hello. But Daniel ATL 7 says agreed. I'm assuming he is talking about the subject or the title of this this video. Michael says, "Oh no, we suck again," which, yeah, you know, without Almada, was it really going to be all that different? Our record without him is pretty bad. 0-2-2 coming in, probably 0-3-2 now. But Antara Moody says, "Old Atlanta curse. Atlanta can only have one of two of their teams win in a day." Probably true. Probably true. Although there's only this. I mean, technically there's, yeah. I mean, it's true. You're right. It's annoying. You're probably right. Michael says, "Veroni tore us up." Indeed he did. Yeah, we talked about this last stream too. That teasing ball at the back post is something that, well, we scored and profited off of, but we don't have enough of those players that can play that ball in. Instead, we have, you know, Brooks Lennon on the right, pumping ball after ball that is the outswinger, and I mean, is and can be kind of dangerous, but larger part, yeah, you know, the teasing ball that pretty much goes as an in-swinger to the back post is far more dangerous ball, and so we pontificated. Yeah, we should have that type of delivery more often, and I'm glad Hernandez was able to play that in. The fresh legs were effective. Lennon, he was having to, you know, stretch the cramps out, and it's one of these things. Yeah, we can't rely on Lennon for every single minute of every single match. We do need some more cover. Ronald Hernandez gave some energy. It's acceptable, but yeah, I think we also need not only with the incoming of Amador, but I think we need more competition for places and, you know, at fullback as well. But Fernandinho Ronaldo, two incredible names there. We need Depay. Memphis Depay. Yeah, I mean, he is pretty dangerous. You know, if he can play out and out striker for us, that is the question. I'm not sure, but, you know, you guys let me know if that's something that you want to see. But yeah, and so as far as the, yeah, just the type of performance, it's really not, I would say, you know, maybe the type of game that we would write home about. I think Valentino would probably have a lot to say, probably, as far as how we set up and then how we played. You know, when you have Gregerson, when you have Williams, and you have Abram, three very experienced center backs, and they essentially, yeah, both of them got skinned by Veroni in terms of Williams and Gregerson. It's just not a good look. It's pretty freaking bad. You know, that first goal, Williams, it just gets turned around, and pretty easily, really, and Veroni scores it very well. And then, yeah, you know, kind of similar to our goal, the second goal for Veroni. Yeah, that back post, floated ball, stood up to the back post. It is that, but yeah. So I mean, it's two goals that they're well taken. Could they be prevented? I feel like they could have. The marking from the outside on the service, I think, also needs to be looked at as well. It's just, yeah, you just can't give them that much time and space. And we didn't press. We didn't go to step to the ball, and it's just not good. Not good. But there we go. There we go. There you are. I was just about to message you. So, okay. Drew's in here now. We'll do a little mic check as well.
Can you hear me?
I can. Can the chat
Cool.
hear you? If they can, drop some ones. But, yeah, so much pain watching this game. Yes, indeed, as you said. Yep. It is. It is not ideal as far as happiness goes.
No, it was just kind of miserable because you have all this buildup and then we can't do anything with it. We looked like we should have gotten something out of this game, but we couldn't convert. We couldn't convert anything. We had a couple chances at the end of the first half that looked really dangerous.
Yeah, it's like Silva. I think it's probably his chances. I would say that probably had the best look, and then of course Fortune's probably as well as Schleich testing the keeper.
Schleich. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as I mean, it's just that it's like it's a little too late. You get woken up after you get scored on. It's a little bit of yesteryear type of flashbacks.
Yeah. Just it's so frustrating trying to watch them build through the game, and you're looking for that moment of decisiveness, and it just doesn't come. They just can't. They can't make the right decision, or they aren't willing to make the right decision, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, and it's a bit of that. I think the confidence in front of goal, especially from the players that are not strikers, I think that's really where somehow we need to build it up, because they take too many touches. They the shots are just kind of weak. Besides the Fortune scorcher and then the Schleich hits. I mean, Schleich hasn't met a ball that he hasn't hit hard when he's trying to take a shot. But yeah, like everyone else. Go ahead.
I was gonna say this was probably his best game attacking wise. He looked like he finally had the confidence to kind of step up into the midfield more and create more, which is good for us. That was one thing I was very happy to see, because you could see him playing with more confidence and more wanting to go forward, playing that final ball, willing to take that shot. That is something we need from a player at his position. It just nobody else was willing to do that this game.
Right, and I think it also speaks to maybe, I mean, at least for me, questions with the starting 11. Of course, hindsight is 2020, but I mean, did you feel like it was the right starting 11 to try to get the 3 points?
No, it wasn't, because it felt too defensive. It felt like they were just wanting to sit back. It didn't feel like there was even if we got it on the counter, it didn't feel like we would be able to connect the lines together. You have Schleich, you have Fortune, and you have Muyumba. You don't really have a goal threat or an offensive threat in one of those players. And you could see the lines weren't connected. You'd get it stuck in the midfield, and they were just hoofing long balls forward, trying to find a striker up there. And with the two we had up there, it wouldn't have worked. Rios can kind of hold the ball up, but that's not his game. And then Silva's more of a tricky winger type. That doesn't suit his game, playing up in a pair up top.
Yeah, it's definitely mismatches. We are doing the best we can, I guess, with the personnel at hand. But I agree with you. It was far too defensive in midfield. I think we definitely needed another attacker. We can do the 3-4-3, I think. But I think it was also, Firmino maybe is the other shout as the midfielder that could have played, but it's also, we don't have any other strikers per se. I mean, Wolf came on later, and he was, I guess, playing more of an auxiliary role, and so possibly, but yeah, I mean, I think Firmino is maybe the other guy that instead of either Fortune or Muyumba, but
yep.
I mean, Muyumba came off first. Do you feel like it was more performance related or just kind of rest related?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was performance related a little bit. He wasn't having the best game, but he's also probably has some tired legs in there. He's been our workhorse in the midfield basically throughout this whole turnover period, and pulling him off early when he's not having the best game and giving him some time to rest is not a bad idea. It gave us a little bit more oomph in the attack, which was good. I just wish we could have done something with it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, it's like Firmino was brought on later on, but it was just, again, a little late.
A little too late.
You're right, and I feel like maybe there was a little bit more bravery needed from Valentino, probably at the half, possibly. Like, you're 2-0 down. I mean, you just kind of have to go for it a little bit. And, yes, we were able to kind of get that consolation goal later. And, with the benefit of time, possibly we could have gotten an equalizer. But it is that I think the moves should have been done earlier to bring more energy. And it's also that. It's like, so Saba came on. It's one of those, I think there's a lot of players that don't know where they need to be to, create space for each other. But, yeah, how did you find Saba's kind of reintroduction into the team?
He looked a little rusty. He looked a little out of sync with the team. You could see him trying to make the right runs, but it felt like he was just like there was just a little disconnect between what he was trying to do and what the rest of the team was trying to do. He's been gone for a while. I kind of give him a little bit of slack with that. We'll see what he does going into our next game here, which I expect him probably to start, especially with Silva not being the greatest up top right now, and it'll be good to see Saba for the full 90 minutes probably, or at least a good chunk of those minutes. And the team just feels disconnected at points. I know we're getting out results, we're grinding out results, sort of. The team just feels disconnected. It doesn't feel like there is a flow with the team. We don't feel like we have an identity, and it's probably due to this interim manager he's not really sure how long he's going to be here, what players he's going to have to work with, and it's kind of sad to see.
Yeah, he's definitely not able to, I think, put his best foot forward with, the best players that are possibly at hand. And I mean, yeah, basically subtract 2 DPs in his time, pretty much. It's he's got it all to do, and that's a tough shake. Obviously, And it's also that it's as well when your defenders keep popping in and out. I mean that's tough too because Gregerson, he got his 5th yellow and now he will miss the next match against RSL. Where Chicho Arango is a very dangerous player and will probably have had played on his side. So yet another game that he will miss. He just can't stay on the pitch, it seems like. Huh?
Yeah, but I look at it as a positive here. Is we're probably going to get another look at Efren Morales if we continue to play a back 3. He's a kid that does not hesitate to get into physical battles there and try to pocket the team's best player, and it's good to see that confidence from that kid. He's gonna need the development and playing out of the back more and getting more comfortable with that, but that'll come with time. The raw ability with that guy, especially when you saw him against DC, he was so big in that game and just shutting down everything. And with a young kid like that, that's what we want to see. And if he can have an impact like that again going into this game, it'll be very great to see again.
Yeah, well, that's what will be interesting. So, I mean, let's just have this serve as a little bit of a preview for the RSL match since it's the holiday. We won't be able to do another episode before the RSL match. But as far as kind of, prognosticating, maybe the lineup a bit, I think that's what will be interesting is, well, so you're saying Morales, I mean, I feel like Cobb might be ahead of him on the depth chart as well. What might be interesting is, okay, so no Gregerson. Well, that's 3 left footers. That's very fascinating. I don't know if I've seen a team roll out 3 left-footed center backs ever in my in watching football. It's definitely not the norm, but I mean, what are your thoughts on if it's Cobb ahead of Morales, or do you feel like for you we should stick with Morales and try to go against Arango like that?
I would say stick with Morales. Morales is a physical guy, and he likes to get into those battles, and he's more comfortable on Gregerson's side. You could see he tends to shadow more towards that side. Cobb, we really haven't seen him in that spot. He's more in Abram's spot, and Abram played pretty decently this game. It's good to see him back. So what I say is let Abram stick to that side, Williams in the middle, and Morales on that side, just because keep players comfortable in where they're at that position. It allows for a little bit more better chemistry at that back line, especially going up against somebody like Chicho Arango.
Yeah. I mean, as far as, I guess, Cobb, then, I mean, what message do you feel like that would send to, this player that has been getting the bulk of the starts when Gregerson hasn't played? Do you feel like there's a kind of a mentality thing that's, the message that it sends, essentially, from Valentino?
I get that he might feel a little hard undone, but you pull him aside and you go, okay, hey, this is going to be a tough matchup. It's nothing against you, but we prefer this type of player over what you bring. If it was somebody else, you would have started this game, but in this type of matchup, I prefer this player. And you just be upfront and honest with the kid, and that's usually the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, as far as positives that we can take out of this match, so that's going into RSL, is there something that we can kind of glean that okay, there's some light at the end of the tunnel here without our two previous DPs, that we could muster something against RSL.
Saba being back is going to be key. Before he went away for international duty, he was starting to fly again, and he was starting to gain confidence and he was trying to carry the load of this team a lot more, which was great to see. Having him back there and maybe allowing us to switch instead of a 3-5-2 into a 3-4-3 sort of formation, that allows us to have a little bit more. It allows our players to more fit into positions they're better at, and I think that'll be good. Schleich stepping more into that leadership role and taking control of the games more in an offensive way, that is going to be huge again. If he can continue to get more confident with that sort of play, he will be a dangerous player in this league.
Yeah. Well, hopefully so. Yeah, it's definitely, it's not a great result tonight. Obviously, we have probably been overperforming a little bit, our at least results. So it is definitely something that's, we have it all to do. I think with these two matches that are pretty tough, I don't think the team will come home. So, the away the away food will have to be something like the home cooking, I feel like, in order for the players to really feel comfortable and go for the 3 points. So, but yeah, you have any final thoughts?
Tough game here, but let's move on to the next game. Try to grind out a result in a tough stadium here, and let's get back home.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, we did break the duck finally at home, so hopefully the home thing as well can become more of a fortress. We'll see. But Drew, thank you so much as always, and it's always a pleasure.
Night.
All right, man. Have a good night. See ya. Okay, so you guys are dropping some things in the chat here a little bit. Feel free to talk a little bit more. Seems a little barren because of the possibly holiday, possibly because it was a bad result. You let us know what your thoughts are, though, in the chat. But Michael says, not great, Connor. Not good, Bob. In response to Connor's how's it going. So yeah, it's not great. Definitely could be a lot better in a lot of ways. But yeah, let's take a look at kind of the stats of this match. And Connor, you are next, so hop on in when you get the chance. But yeah, it's yeah, we had 18 shots to their 12. We had 8 shots on target. We had 59% possession. Yeah, passing accuracy 89%. I mean, I feel like the number of corners. Yeah, we had 12 corners to their 3. We had some. We had probably the better moments, I would say, but they essentially played smash and grab at their own home, and it's that's kind of how it goes sometimes when it's a team that's kind of struggling a little bit, at least the large part of the season anyway, because they had won 4 straight before they came up against Columbus Crew, but Columbus Crew are a different animal than us. We are just not as good, and that is very much apparent in the type of performance that we had tonight. But it's just hopefully they can forget this this whole thing and just remember the good things that they did and try to build on that. But here we go. So Connor, welcome. Let us know your thoughts.
Hello. Pulling up the stats real quick. Get this all pulled up. Well, it was disappointing. I mean, whenever you're putting that kind of lineup out there, I think I would have been happy with a draw.
Mm-hmm.
I think the draw might have been kind of, I mean, we just didn't take our chances. They took their chances. Pretty simple. I mean, it was this lineup isn't good enough to win games in MLS, basically. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. I mean, that part is true probably. Although, yeah, us, really pressing for a goal and taking a ton of shots. I'm encouraged by that. The rest of the team was more aggressive, realizing, okay, yeah, we don't have the DPs on this squad. The goals have to come from somewhere, but it's just ultimately, yeah, these players don't have a ton of confidence in front of goal, and it's telling when it's just the striker that scores, and it's from kind of fresh legs a little bit, the energy that was brought. But do you feel like, I mean, I asked Drew this a little bit too. Do you feel like a move should have been made earlier in the second half? If we're gonna dissect Valentino's performance as the interim head coach tonight.
Yeah, I think I said in the chat at halftime. I was like, I think we need to make a change. Personally, I thought we were looking a little bit almost in possession. We weren't able to connect the lines enough, and I didn't know if that meant we brought off Mayumba and brought in someone like Dax to make it so that we just fully in possession. We're literally just two people sit back and then we send three people forward. I thought probably what was better is you bring off Mayumba for like a Firmino or even Saba at halftime, and then you go and play Saba wide, put Jonde wide, and then you kind of link through that. But I thought at halftime we needed to make a change. But at the same time, I understand why he didn't. We were kind of getting back into the game at that point. Like, we had chances towards the end, so I was kind of understanding why we didn't make the changes. I didn't think that we were going to even score, like, coming back out. All of our chances were from, like, half chances from outside the box or from, like, little. It wasn't like we were building good plays. We were just getting kind of lucky, or we were taking good shots from, like, minute locations. We weren't building a sustainable attack, basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel you. Yeah, because it is that it's the Revs weren't necessarily trying to play with the ball, and so at that point, having all three of those attackers or all three of those center backs, it was probably a little superfluous. We were maybe a little too flat, and at that point, it's okay. Yes, okay. If you're gonna go with the 3-man back line, possibly have your most mobile midfielders, and just kind of keep 5 back, but attack with 5. Going forward, and so Wiley, Lennon just stay up, but also it was when Rios or even sometimes Lennon, when the ball went to them from either a long diagonal or from a goal kick, the problem was there was nobody next to them to be able to get those knockdowns. Like you're saying, the connection of the lines, we were just way too far apart, and that's really kind of the difficulty is possibly, Rios maybe should have dropped even deeper instead of, trying to play up top with the center backs and, hold up the ball there. Just drop deeper. Let's really connect with whomever was supposed to play next to Rios. But didn't seem like there was really an assignment there. It just seemed like, okay, whoever is gonna just be brave enough to go forward, which I think it was Fortune most of the time. But yeah, it's definitely interesting that there wasn't maybe the onus to just try to condense the play a little bit more, where you can play those triangles, but instead we just so far apart. I mean, do you feel like the moves that he made later on? I mean, do you feel like any of the players actually knew what they were supposed to do?
I think possibly with you saw whenever Firmino came on, I thought I don't necessarily know if it was that he knew exactly what to do or that he just kind of found the spaces and he knew that he was the man that needed to get in the middle, kind of connect the play and create something. I think that's just kind of like what he wants to do anyway. So I don't know if that's necessarily the coach telling him what to do or if that's just naturally what he wants to do and he decided to go do it.
Yeah.
And honestly, the Revs kind of let him do it. They weren't necessarily trying, like they were just damage control almost. Like they weren't they were trying to just see out the result. And we just weren't good enough to get back into the game.
Right.
Past one goal. So
yeah, and it's probably also that too, where the Revs are like, "Who are you?" it's
yeah.
You know, one of those where Firmino doesn't have a ton of time on the pitch. There's not the book for them per se. They probably would have prepared for a lot of the other players instead of him.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that they could have prepared for him to start. But ultimately, it is one of those things where, I felt like the players, when they were subbed on, didn't really know what they were supposed to do. And yes, there's not a lot of time between these matches right now for them to really work on things and really try to work out little kinks that have been issues. But yeah, it's just kind of the microcosm of these the schedule compression, the just number of things that make MLS the fun thing that it is, right? but
I also I wonder if going into the match we almost thought that we were going to be that the Revs were going to try and be the possession side and we were going to try and just solely counterattack them, because that's almost how it felt. But if we went into it thinking like that, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
like it's just
yeah. I mean, it is. I think there was a kind of passiveness from Atl United early, and I think that I'm glad that you noticed that too, because it definitely seemed like with the pragmatism that Valentino has been trying to play with, and just being as direct as possible when we have the ball, it felt like New England, they kind of sat back a little bit, knowing that that's what we probably wanted to do. And instead, they were the the team that actually they were not the protagonists. They were essentially sitting back and just really waiting for mistakes or the ball over the top, especially apparent in the second half where, I mean, almost identical offside calls for Veroni. And, I mean, it's just like,
that reminds me of Chelsea Tottenham, my lord. As a Tottenham fan, I have bad memories of that.
I see. So, yeah. I mean, definitely what Chelsea does on a regular basis throughout their history. So, I know those haunts for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and so it's this like going into the next match, do you feel like, obviously with Gregerson out, are you agreeing with Drew that it should be Morales, or do you feel like it should be Cobb, or do you feel like it should be a 4-man back line?
I would personally, I think I would go 4-man. It depends on who's fit going into the game for me. If John Day and Saba can play a full 90 or play like 75, maybe we go 3-2-4 or 3-4-2-1 play them more of the wide men, have Rios kind of drop in, like be the man and just kind of spray balls, because I would assume RSL are going to try and kind of take over the game. So I would assume we're going to be able to kind of counterattack. I would need to go look at how high they average on possession. I think they hold a decent amount against. They losing right now. They are to the Galaxy.
Ooh.
Oh, they lost to the Galaxy today.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, they're gonna come back with a vengeance a little bit too. So that's great. But yeah,
just fantastic.
Right. Michael says in the chat, AJ's lucky I don't have any red cards to give him. Yes. Yep. So yeah, if you guys are new here, we have some Patreon offerings where if as far as yellow cards and red cards, if you are a Patreon and buy into those, well, you can make us do some things on the stream. So go check it out on our Patreon, and it's push-ups, it's dance moves, it's all sorts of things to bring you the entertainment for when we lose or win. But yeah, so as far as kind of final thoughts on this match.
Final thoughts, I think I'm okay with it. I think, as I said beginning with when you're putting out this team winnings, I kind of like, whenever that team sheet came out, I was like, draw, I'll take a draw. But losing, I'm like, this is not the worst loss that I've seen all season, so I'm not that mad about it. But hopefully it gets better. Hopefully we sign somebody too. But that's do we know when I forget how to say his name.
Yeah,
Amador. Do we know when he joins? Because Wiley I was not impressed with him today.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no. So he joins the 16th of July. But, obviously the Olympics happen, and so there's not going to be a real competition for places. And, of course, Wiley as well with the rumors to Strasbourg, via Chelsea possibly. So, it is a wonder. I mean, and also, if you're not impressed with Wiley, well, he might be gone soon. So we'll see. But
I think $8 million for Wiley will be some great business.
Yes.
I will.
Yeah. The rumor of the transfer fee possibly being that is a lot for a 19-year-old that hasn't played in Europe yet. So that ain't too bad. We'd probably if push comes to shove and it's a real offer, it might actually happen. But
yeah, I think you have to. If it's above 5, in my opinion, I think you have to accept it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think with how much we've seen, he was really, really promising about whenever he was first coming through, but now I still have hope for him, because I think he can get there. I just think he needs to move away from Atlanta United, just because I don't think with Lennon, I think we play him too defensively almost, / he's not good enough offensively yet. So it's kind of, I think he needs to go find somewhere else personally. But
that's interesting. I mean,
hopefully,
it's interesting because he does struggle with certain aspects of defending, and so if he goes to a harder league, that will be very interesting on his development, and hopefully it does kind of like maybe spearhead the acceleration of his development. But we'll see. But
I also find it Strasbourg, they're not an attacking possession team. So I don't know how he's gonna do with that.
Yeah,
it's another thing to think about. But
right,
that's their own issue if they sign him. So
for sure, that's ultimately not our worry, I guess. But it is also. It's like Patrick Vieira being their head coach. It's possible that he can really develop Wiley as well. But it's also going into the new season. with kind of new pieces, they might figure different ways. So, obviously, their season's not, actually happening right now. So, I think it's also that too. It's like maybe he sticks around until, their season actually starts, which could be a month. So
I could even possibly getting him like do a loan till the end of this Atlanta United season. I could see that because Chelsea already do that kind of. They do where like they sign someone up front and then they loan them back till the end of like their season that they're doing. So I could see that happening, and I think I would like that just to let him finish off the year with us, have a complete year, and then send him off, and hopefully like he would be coming into a. It's weird because like you would want him to have a full preseason with them so he can fully get it. It's just kind of
it's a tough thing.
It's like for us, I would want him to stay for another like couple months, but for them, it's probably better if he joins straight away. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's probably ultimately it's gonna be Chelsea / Strasbourg's kind of decision, but. Wiley probably will have a little bit of say in that too, whether he, wants to continue to develop here or not. But, we'll get to those things when they actually happen. But yes, for sure, we do need the reinforcements ASAP, and the rumors will, I think, be rife very, very soon, especially after the holiday. But yeah. Connor, thank you so much. Pleasure as always.
Yep.
Have a great rest of your night.
Yes, thank you.
See you, man.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. All right. Not a ton in the chat right now, so Niall, hop on in. But other thoughts about this match. It's just making do with the best that we have, like I mentioned earlier, but setting up so defensively on the road, and then just looking so stretched. I think it's a worry for me if Valentino does it again versus RSL. I mean, even though he should, I feel like this match was probably the match where you play a little bit more attacking and have that type of kind of onus to really try to put New England Revolution under the cosh instead of just kind of this passive start that we had that kind of led to them slicing us up very, very simply, because we were listless in our possession at times, but also it's like I think the second half we started playing a lot faster. It's just one of those like we were pretty tidy with the ball. The issue is just there are moments where we just switch off, and you saw it from the two goals. You saw it from, thankfully, the two offside goals, or offside chances, rather. One of them being a goal, one of them not. But, they were a little too close for comfort, for sure. It could have been 3-0, 4-0. And, when we didn't even really put anything in the back of the net, that's highly frustrating if that actually happened. Obviously, we commend the fight. I feel like from the team, it's enough to a degree to say okay, on the road in the first match without Thiago Almada, really officially, maybe not officially, but knowing that he will never be back. There is that type of galvanizing feeling that the squad has to have, and realizing, okay, it's all up to us now. We have to step up. So Yep. I mean, you guys let us know. Let us know in the chat. You guys are abnormally quiet tonight. And if it is, all good. I do also, I got up super early, so, bedtime might be calling. Bedtime might be calling. So, Niall, let me know. Hop in here. And we will get your opinions. But if not, all good, man. Sleep sounds fantastic. Tell a joke, says Michael. Yeah, I ain't got jokes like that. I am not your I'm not your clown or comedian. But yeah, so I'll give you about 1 more minute, Niall, and I think yeah, we might end the stream if not. But yeah, as far as kind of oh, we got Niall. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe tilt up the there you go. Perfect. There you are. There you are. Niall, welcome in. Let us know your thoughts.
Well, the good vibes were pretty short. I mean, the hope was that you would, get some momentum from that Toronto match and get a result here, especially since this, I would say, is probably one of our quote unquote easier road matches of the next, I think, 2 or 3 that we're playing, because I think we play RSL next. So it would have been nice to get 3 points. Pretty disappointing to see the way that we conceded the goals. I thought that the defense was pretty poor. Williams, I thought maybe had one of his worst, if not his worst game in that Atlanta United shirt. Just the way that the New England striker kind of just strolled past him, and it was pretty shocking to see, because usually you expect Williams to be a bit more, I think, defensively sound. So,
Indeed, it is that type of game from Williams where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, MLS defenders are not perfect, and it is just not a banner game for him, and him coming off, it did make sense ultimately, as he was probably the defender that got scorched the most in this one. But from a Gregerson standpoint, I mean, besides that goal, do you feel like he had a good match? And is just obviously we're gonna be missing him against RSL, but do you feel like the juice has been worth the squeeze so far as him as a DP, when he continually, unfortunately, finds a way to miss time on the pitch?
yeah, it's weird, 'cause I thought he was all right today. He didn't have his best game. I thought he was all right. I think the point you make about him as a DP is interesting, because you are right. He does not get that much time on the field due to injuries and stuff like that. I'm hoping the injury issues are just something that is not recurring, but currently it looks like it is. So I don't want that to become an issue with him, because for me, we spent all that money to go out and get him. So, but for me, I think that is becoming a bit of an issue with him.
Yeah, especially it's like, how did he get 5 yellows? He hasn't even played that much. It's just kind of perplexing. But yeah, it's so I asked Drew this as well as Connor. Yeah, who do you feel like should step in instead? Cobb, Morales, or 4-man back line?
I think it should be a 4-man back line, because personally, I feel like it offers you more options going forward. I would say you'd have Cobb and Morales. Well, no, Cobb and Williams, excuse me, as the pair of two.
Interesting. Because, yeah, I mean, Abram probably didn't have that bad of a match, but and Williams probably at fault. But I get you. I understand maybe why you would go with that because just I think more defensively stout in one sense, but also, yeah,
Right.
if you do have a right footer, yeah, generally you're not going to play two left footers in a kind of center back pairing. So yeah, it's interesting, but it will be really the question for Valentino is he going to play really defensively against an RSL side? Well, it's one of these things where are we a trap game for higher seeded teams at the moment? It might be. We are a team that say Inter Miami, they they were pretty much bamboozled by us, but then we play New York or New England Revolution, and them being lower in the standings than us, they were able to take care of business at home. So it's possibly us going on the road here, against RSL. Maybe we can do kind of the double against teams that's essentially are high up in the standings, at least recently. But yeah, as far as positives that you saw out of this match, were there any?
There were some. I would say Johnny Fortune once again had a decent game. I think there was one shot attempt that he had that the goalkeeper made a pretty incredible save with. So I thought he had a good game. I thought Shalish also had a pretty decent game. I feel like he's been kind of growing a bit into his role here at the club more and more as he's been playing. So that's been definitely good to see. Apart from that, I mean, nothing else really. I mean, it was nice to see Rios get a goal, but at the same time, it's kind of too little too late at that point. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, it is, the striker scoring is what you need for sure, but kind of spreading out the goals. I mean, who do you feel like is the likely next scorer besides our attackers? Obviously, I mean Silva, but Saba, but like of the rest of the cast, the defenders, the midfielders, who's most likely to contribute when we need more goals?
That's a good question. I would say for me, I see Sleesh as a guy that I think can get forward and I think can help offensively. I mean, you saw it today. He did make one pretty good shot that the goalkeeper saved. So I would say I think having Sleesh play a bit more offensively is something that I'm interested in. I think also maybe Luke Brennan or Tyler Wolf. Those are also definitely some options. They're both very explosive. I'm surprised that Brennan's not been playing more often, actually, based on like how well he did against Houston. And I know there's been a lot of people who've been clamoring for that. So I would say maybe those three.
Yeah, and maybe it's that though. It's I hear you, and I largely agree. I think it's Brennan possibly to play devil's advocate is that maybe he's not trusted defensively when it is a bit kind of maybe as energy at the end of the match. Okay, you're already down. You concede another goal. It doesn't really matter per se, but I think he's also been kind of that bastard at the when he's been playing too a little bit, and annoying opposing defenders, all that type of stuff. So yeah, no, it is a wonder that why Brennan didn't play a part, but it is also Saba and him kind of have some overlapping abilities, and it kind of go with the the experience, I think more so, but it is I mean it's like Silva he stayed on for a good while, and I felt like he looked a little bit gassed as far as you know, kind of his ability to impact the game the longer he went. And so, yeah, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, Schließ is a good shout. It's, Fortune probably had the best shots probably overall with the shots on target anyway, at least. But man, it just really is a wonder. Like, where else are these goals going to come from? Like, we need to get these players in the box more, be braver, but also support them with the players that are playing back, so that yeah, these players that are going to play a little bit more courageously and bomb forward, and if they get some chances in the box, that yeah, they're not afraid to shoot. And I think at the very least, we weren't afraid to shoot from distance tonight. But whether it's a high percentage shot, it's a whole different thing. And because largely most of them were not, but it's those chances in the box that Rios, he had that give and go with Wiley that's he wasn't able to sort out his feet. It's just it screams out, yes, you need guys that are a little bit more composed in front of goal that we just don't have at the moment, especially with Tiare out too. Like, we look so impotent in front of goal. But yeah, any other thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you are missing two attacking DPs, Yakimakis is already gone, but of course Almada too, who plays such a huge role in the attack, then there's definitely going to be a sharp drop off in quality. So I think these next couple of matches are going to be pretty tough because of that. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Connor mentions, so one upside I did see is Lennon looked back to better form, and his delivery tonight was much better. I would agree. I think, yeah, large in part, his delivery was more on point. I think his dribbling and his delay to be able to create himself some space, I think, was a little bit more clever than we've usually seen him. But I feel like, yeah, he needs to keep the opposition honest too, maybe with his left foot. It's just a little bit too one-footed at the moment. But Connor also mentions, I feel like if you allow Schließ to get into the dangerous areas, he will take his chances. Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's if he gets in the box, he may not have as much time to launch a banger, but I think his striking ability, his ball striking, obviously is there. Connor also mentions, would you like to see Schließ getting forward more by bringing in like a Dax? I mean, yeah, because Dax is probably the player that would sit back the furthest out of all these players in central midfield. It probably, for me, is, as far as the most forward, it's probably Muyumba, Fortune, Schließ, and then McCarty. So, but how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say a midfield of Dax and Schließ would be interesting for me. Muyumba, for me, it's weird because like I feel like he's a very like frustrating player at times, because I feel like he can lose the ball quite a bit, or just, I think sometimes like doesn't make the right decision at times. So for me, I would be interested in having maybe Schließ and then McCarty in for Muyumba.
Mm-hmm. But it's also this, yeah, he may lose the ball at times, but the alternative in previous years was Hosetu, who was entirely way too safe and, wasn't taking shots, wasn't taking chances, and basically wasn't moving the ball forward. So Be careful what you wish for in that regard. But definitely, yeah. I think Schleich and McCarty would probably be the most defensive, but it also would be kind of fascinating. I think if maybe we started a match that way.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it's our least athletic pairing, which
Right.
in that sense, everybody else needs to be, very much able to cover a lot of ground because, and so I think at that point it probably would be a 3-man back line, and probably you would need a Gregerson, you would need,
Right.
possibly a Morales, possibly as well. Mobility for sure, but yeah, and as far as I guess final thoughts on this match.
Final thoughts. Tough match. We gave Brioni way too much space. But ultimately, I'm kind of expecting this current run of matches to be pretty tough because we're missing 2 DPs, and when you miss 2 big DPs, the drop off is gonna be quite significant. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can get some rumors in about players because that time I think is coming up soon. But yeah,
Indeed, yeah. I mean, with the transfer window opening up soon, and a lot of available players all over the world, now is the time. It's rife. We need to bring them in ASAP as well. So, yep. It is, yes, for sure. And obviously, you, Niall, will be helping us cover that as well as, so anybody as well out there, if, you're new here, definitely keep it locked on, our socials and on our YouTube for the news. And, but yeah, so, Niall, thank you so much. Pleasure as always. Have a great rest of your night.
All right, you too, AJ. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Well, guys, get your comments in before we head out and me head to bed. But, yeah, I mean, to sum it up, it's a game that's, it's good that we had a lot of shots. I think it's, if we can replicate that part as far as creating chances, or at least half chances, then, I think it will bode better. The luck will turn around at some point. Not every keeper will, just... This one didn't necessarily stand on his head, as a lot of the shots were pretty much at him. But it's also, a bit of the... He was well positioned for a number of those shots as well. So, if we can build on the chance that Hernandez created, I think that's definitely a positive. More of those type of chances at the back post, more of really trying to play in the box, because the more that you can actually play in the box, I think the more dangerous type of chances you can create. So, it will have to be with those players that have really delicate touches. Obviously, that would have been an Almada, but yeah, it's at this point, our next best up probably Firmino. So, maybe it's Saba, maybe it's Silva as well, but we need to get them closer to the striker. Ultimately, that's probably the most important thing, is getting our best attackers the best looks inside the box. But yeah, Connor, you have a comment here. Sums up keepers against Atlanta. They always put in a shift except for last match. Yeah, indeed, exactly. Yeah, it is the last match notwithstanding. Although that keeper did have a pretty good match against us up until his brain fart. So, it still is. It still is sometimes. They might have a hell of a match, but then you can't account for that. Can't account for stupidity. it's ultimately that's truly what it is. But yeah. Well, guys, that is the live stream then, and so for everybody that came on, thank you so much. And yes, if you're new here, subscribe. If you're not, even if you are new, old, like, comment, share this video. And yes, I've been AJ. We will see you in the next video. Good night.